The old me, which was the me that woke up this morning, was feeling a bit overwhelmed because I had so much work to do today. I've got to catch up on my lectures because I'm behind on my lectures and I am behind on my YouTube in my own head. I'm behind on YouTube. I was just feeling really overwhelmed and didn't know where to start. The new me has put on makeup and is reframing why I feel the way that I do. So I was feeling behind, but why am I behind? I'm behind because I went out last night and I saw my friends and I had such a good time seeing my friends. So there shouldn't be any guilt there because I was working on building connections with people. And if I'm behind as a byproduct of that, that's okay because that's life. In undergrad, I sacrificed my friendships for a time because I needed to get better marks. By sacrificing, I don't mean that I burnt bridges or did anything crazy. I just had to remove myself from being very social because I know that I can get carried away with being social and I didn't know where my limits were. I think what's fucking me up is that I still have an undergrad mindset and I need to evolve to a new, finessed, postgraduate mindset. Before I forget, if you're new here, remember to subscribe if you want to keep coming back for more videos, and thank you for clicking onto this one. I believe it's Monday week 7, which means there's just one more week of foundation block before we move on to our actual rotations. I cannot believe how quickly it's gone by. I found out on the weekend that we actually have a break in 3 weeks, which I had no idea that we had that. But between now and then we have our test, our first test ever, Cat 5, Cumulative Assessment Task 5, which is carried over from last year. So we had 4 cats last year and now this year we're going to have Cat 5. Cat 5 is only worth 5%, so everyone I've spoken to has been pretty blasé about it so far. But I have this sick feeling that it's going to be really, really, really hard because I think that would be a smart thing for the clinical schools to do because then everyone would study a lot and be way more prepared for the rest of the year. Because if it was easy, it would kind of set up a false sense of security. And I just don't think med school is like that. Today I have my first day on ED, which I'm really excited about because everyone I've spoken to from my year has loved their ED experience so far. The timings for ED are a bit different to the other placements that I've had so far in that we do it in shifts. So today we have 1 till 6 and then tomorrow is 8 till 1 and then sometimes you have the weekends as well. I'm excited actually to go in on the weekends because I've been trying to motivate myself to go to the library on weekends and so far it hasn't happened yet, but if I'm already at the hospital then I'll be way more likely to just go to the library after a shift. This morning we have our long case tute. I'm really excited to see one of my classmates' long cases. She has picked a patient who has multiple issues. I think she said 8 issues. So I'm really intrigued to see how she organizes her information because that is a lot of issues to go over in the 10 to 12 minutes that we have to present. I made my first ever Instagram reel on the weekend and it's honestly so confusing. I don't know what Instagram is doing. So basically to post videos to Instagram, it's so stupid. You've got Reels, okay, which is their TikTok equivalent. And the benefit of that over stories is that firstly, it stays on your Instagram forever. Secondly, it's easier for random people on Instagram to find your page. But the caveat with Reels is that they can only be between 0 and 30 seconds long. And then there is IGTV, in which the videos have to be between 1 and 60 minutes long. So basically, if your video is 45 seconds, then you're fucked and there's no place for you to post your video. It's so stupid. Come on, Instagram. I'm really liking our long case tutes. Our tutor is so awesome. He is really lovely, really softly spoken, really smart. He buys us coffee every class. Like, who does that? That's so sweet. After every shoot, he sends us an email with all the discussion points from that shoot. I want to work towards being a better teacher and he's definitely my teaching goals.
What's happening?
I don't know.
Do you want to start faxing now?
I just finished my first ED shift and I really liked it. It was so much fun. Firstly, we were attached to this awesome doctor and he just was really keen on teaching us. And that's really the first experience I've had in the hospital of being able to follow a doctor around and not feel like a nuisance. He really was trying his best to include us, kept asking us questions the whole way through. It was like an amazing multitasker. He was like typing up his notes and quizzing us and getting us to ask questions all the way through our shift. It was so nice to feel like I was actually a part of the team and I felt like I was learning so much. The doctor that we were following around was a resident, so that means he finished med school a couple of years ago. During that 6-hour shift, 5-hour shift. He had 2 patients under his care. One of the patients had come in because they'd fallen and injured their back, and another patient had come in because they had a TIA or a mini stroke. For the person who fell over and hurt the back, we were doing a lower limb neurology exam. So seeing if they still had strength in their muscles of their legs, seeing if they could feel it when we touched them, trying to get them to walk around a little bit to see if we can see their gait or if they could support their own weight. Then the doctor gave them some analgesics and was monitoring them to see whether or not they should go home or if they should be admitted as an inpatient. I actually had so much fun and I really enjoyed that, and it was nice to have direction all the way through my placement day versus when I've been on other parts of the hospital. I feel like I'm ambling around a lot and wasting a lot of time, but it did not feel that way today. I felt like I really utilised every second of that day. The long cases this morning were really interesting to listen to as well. One of the presentations of the long case was someone with right lower quadrant pain that radiated to their leg, which we weren't sure was a confounding factor because there's not much right quadrant pain that I know about that radiates there, and no one else could really put their finger on it either. But it was still a really interesting case nonetheless. The person had also had a history of ectopic pregnancy and had some vaginal bleeding when they came in. So we were wondering if it was something to do with that, but she wasn't pregnant. So it was a bit confusing actually. I feel really good at the moment, but things that are due are going to start piling on because we just got an assignment that we have to do that is due next Friday, so it really didn't give us much time. So I think it's going to be a really hectic few weeks, and I'm not sure how long this happy feeling of mine is going to last, but at least it's here right now. I did not want to get out of bed this morning. The dogs were looking so cute and snuggly, and it was so warm in my bed, and I didn't really get that much sleep last night, so I was so close to just deciding to sleep in, but then I got up and so now I'm here. After my ED shift this morning till 1, I have a peer tutoring class. I missed mine last week, so I missed the first one. But peer tutoring is basically when people in MD3, so the year level above us, teach us stuff about the course. I think we're running through ECGs today, which I desperately need. Right after that, I have my clinical skills class. And then I think after that, I'm gonna go home because I need to finish editing a video and I wanna get that done later tonight. It's 3 o'clock at the moment and I'm heading home. I had a nice morning on the wards. I interviewed a patient who'd come in for back pain. So I did a full history on her. Oh my God, someone's doing a burnout down the street. It was actually perfect because yesterday the doctor we were following around was assessing someone with back pain. So it was good to be able to recreate everything that I saw him do in terms of the exam. There are these things called the back pain red flags, and they're just things that you have to look out for, which are a bad sign of back pain. So we did an OSCE on them actually last year. That was what our end of year assessment was. We had a patient with back pain and we had to assess whether or not they had the red flags or not. What those are is age over 50 or age under 20, someone who's been on steroids because they can weaken your bones, someone who's immunosuppressed because then they're more likely to have infections in their bones, someone who has a past history of cancer, someone who's had trauma to the site. Those are the main ones I can think of right now. So yeah, I did her history, and then I also did a physical exam on her that I had learnt yesterday, which was touching along her vertebrae. And if the patient is more tender around the side of their spine, then that means it's more likely a musculoskeletal cause of their pain. But if the pain is more central in their spine, then that means it's more likely to be something involving their vertebrae or their spinal column. But she had tenderness mostly around the side. So then I presented my history back to her doctor, and then the doctor asked me what I thought was going on. And I thought that all things considered, it sounded like something traumatic, even though she doesn't remember there being an incident. And the doctor agreed that's what she thought as well. So that was a bit of boost of confidence. She was really nice, so that's always really helpful when someone's nice to you. After that, I had my clinical skills class, and our teacher found us someone with some heart murmurs to listen to. So we listened to them and we tried to define what kind of heart murmur they were, and we thought that they were pansystolic. He had like 3 murmurs, so they were all kind of meshing into one. But basically what pansystolic means is that it's all the way through systole. You can hear the whoosh. That wasn't a very good noise. No, that wasn't it either. Whoosh. I guess that was closer. So pansystolic means that all the way through systole. Systole is the ejection phase of the heartbeat and diastole is the relaxation phase. So yeah, I think I need to go and revise because I don't think I really get it. I feel confident that I can actually hear the murmurs now, which is good. I mean, not that I can decipher what they are, but I can hear a difference between a regular heartbeat, a normal heartbeat, and also a murmur. We also finished up the day having a peer tute about ECGs, and I'm slowly making progress on them. That explanation was really clear, actually. So I think I just need to sit down and mark out like 3 hours where I go over it myself, and then I should be on my way to actually being able to read them and get some value out of them. It's such a beautiful day today, and it's probably one of the last beautiful days for the year, I reckon. I'm gonna go home and edit my video and have a good night's sleep. James has been super busy lately. He is really inundated at work, so it's not like I have anyone to hang out with anyway, so I'm just gonna get it done. Are you guys interested in hearing me talk about the social media part of my life in terms of editing and Instagram and where I'm at with that? Or is that just boring to you? Because I can't figure it out, but please let me know in the comments if you wanna hear about it or if I should just leave it out. Currently 1:20 and I'm just heading into the hospital now. Last night I was so productive studying late that I'm trying it again today, and this is what I used to do in undergrad. I would have a leisurely morning, you know, have a late lunch, go to the gym, do everything I wanted to do at the start of the day, and then go into uni or the library later on. I'll probably try to stay at the hospital today from 2 till 10. That's like a good full 8-hour day. Talking to my friend Kit in the library the other day as we were leaving, and I was like, oh man, that lecture, I just really zoned out at the end of it, and then I just wasn't paying attention at the end. I zoned out. And he was like, what? And I was like, I zoned out of the lecture? You don't zone out of your lectures ever? And like, it took him a couple of minutes to register and be like, oh yeah, like that happens to me. I try not to let it happen. But I was like, oh my God, the fact that you had to think about that and whether or not that happens to you, is that not everyone? I'm feeling really good this morning. I feel happy and I feel accomplished because I went to the gym and I did my first ever push-up. Oh my God, I did my first ever push-up. I can't believe I haven't said that yet. Oh my God. Not a girl one, not on my knees, like a full-on push-up. It's fucking groundbreaking. None of my group members are in today because they were all in yesterday and I didn't go in yesterday. As much as I'm going to miss them, I think it's going to be really good for me and it's going to force me out of my comfort zone. I've been trying to learn how to meditate using Sam Harris's podcast, Waking Up. I'm only on to day 3, and I used to in the past when I would try to meditate, if I missed a day, like I'd do like 2 days, and if I missed a 3rd day, then I'd just be really hard on myself and be like, oh well, you stuffed up, you failed meditating now because you didn't do it every single day. So now my new attitude is to not do that and just meditate when I can remember and when I try. So this is only my 3rd time for the week, but that's okay, I'm trying. I quite like the Waking Up app. I've tried meditating apps in the past and I think this one just speaks to me in a really scientific way, which I really like. So in other meditating apps that I've used, they say stuff like focus on your breath, and then the whole time I'm focusing on my breath, I'm like, why am I focusing on my breath? And I get caught up thinking about that. But in Waking Up, the podcast, he talks about how focusing on the breath is arbitrary and there's no real significance to it other than the fact that you always have your breath. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Sam Harris. I won't obsess over that random thought anymore. I've never gotten to a point with meditating where I can see the effects it's having on my life. I imagine if it's anything like the gym, it'll take me at least 12 weeks to start feeling a difference. If any of you guys meditate, I would actually love to hear about the benefits that you've felt from meditating. So please let me know in the comments or DM me. Let's chat. That was such a productive day and I'm really happy with how I went. I ran into my friend Mark on my way here, and so I had a buddy to go down to see patients with, and we saw a few patients. We interviewed someone who had a suspected stroke / maybe migraine. So we did her history, which was really, really interesting because to our untrained ears and eyes, we thought that she was definitely having a stroke. But then we looked at her file and the stroke team thought that she was having a migraine, but she was having full-on symptoms like She almost dropped her cup of coffee. She felt very weak. She couldn't speak properly, like very severe symptoms. So for that to be a migraine, I just didn't even know that migraine aura or prodrome could be that severe. I'm really proud of myself and I'm really happy with how that went. I got so much done and I feel really accomplished, and I'm excited to repeat this again tomorrow because that was great. I'm such a better nighttime learner. I just do so much better at nighttime. I get so much more done. I'm so much less distracted. I'm so much more productive. I feel just great when I work at nighttime. I'm about to finish all of this week's lectures, which is the first time that I've been up to date on lectures this year. So it's a monumental moment and I'm so happy. One of the lectures I just had was kind of a bummer though, and it put me in a really kind of weird and not great mood. It was about how to recognize if a patient has depression/anxiety and what that can mean for them in their care. And the example that the lecturer was giving was about patients who are depressed following an acute myocardial infarction or a heart attack, and how it increases their morbidity and mortality if they're depressed. It just made me feel contemplative and sad because my dad obviously died of a myocardial infarct, and I can't say that I know that he was well before that happened, and that I hadn't seen him for a few months really before he passed properly. And in my life as I was growing up, he did have bouts of depression pretty regularly. Not that they were ever diagnosed, but looking back now, I can see them. It just makes me really sad to think that he may have been sad or depressed for the last few months of his life. And that's just such a tough thing to think about. It makes me feel awful. It's tragic. It's just really tragic to feel that way right before you pass. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Billy, 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 you are so cute. Oh, little Billy. Dizzy, Dizzy, you are so cute. Oh my God. Hello, my babies. Having a great morning. I went to the gym. I'm now going to Shopping Town because I had the impulse to buy some makeup, and once I get that impulse in my brain, I have to go and buy some makeup. And then I'm going to be going to the hospital after that. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I feel good. When I have a schedule like this, I feel like I get all of my energy out at the start of the day, like the excess energy. And then now that I've gotten that out of the way and I've had like a fun morning, I'm like so much more ready to sit down and study, and I won't be as distracted. I'm almost finished this week's lectures. Just got some dog clippers for my extremely hairy little family. I get a lot of questions about working in med school and how hard it is to afford an income in med school, stuff like that, and if Oz study is enough. And Oz study is just barely enough. I would say, actually, wait, no. Oz study and working like 10 hours a week is just barely enough, but you have to do stuff like clip your own dogs because I couldn't afford to get them groomed. So you just have to be kind of smart with what you do with your money. I'm heading to the hospital now to do my long case at the library there because I need to access my patients' files. There is a way that we can access them from home, but I just know I'm way more effective in the library anyway, so I'm going to go for a few hours now. I'm going to a surprise dinner immediately after, which is why I'm dressed at the moment, because a friend of mine has just finished his PhD, which is very exciting. So his girlfriend is having a surprise PhD finishing dinner. Guys, I think I'm sick in the head, but I'm really thoroughly enjoying being at the library right now on a Saturday night, writing up my long case. It's really satisfying and it feels like detective work. The uni kids. Oh my God. I'm scared. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, it would be awesome if you can like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and I will see you next week. I'd like to dedicate this vlog to Phil Severick, who was a member of our MD community and has unfortunately passed away. I did not know Phil personally, but I'm very sad that I won't get the opportunity to meet him, and my deepest sympathies are for his family and friends.